Welcome to the Lake Placid, New York, and the Olympic Sliding Sports Complex for the second round of the BMW IBSF World Cup Men's Skeleton Tour. Hello, everybody. John Morgan with Greg West, former U.S. Olympic slider. And first run coming up for men's skeleton. The track, the women just completed the event. Alina Nikotina from Russia won it. You know the track, and it's in pretty good shape.
Yes, track's in excellent shape. We've got new track manager John Napier taking care of it. It has been absolute glass for the last couple of weeks. Temperatures today a little bit warmer than people anticipated. A lot of questions on runner selection and sled setup we saw in the women's field. We should see the same with the guys. Heading down into the track here. 19 corners for the skeleton athletes versus 20 for the bobsleds. And one of the trickiest ones this week, ironically enough, has been turn one. We're going to see some action there today. Some people coming out and tapping the right wall. We're dropping into turn 4 and into the Devil's Highway right now. This is kind of like a washing machine when you're on a skeleton sled. You'll see on the exit of turn 7, the head drop because of 5 G-forces. Through 9 and into Big Shady 2, a couple hundred yards away from the original Shady Corner on the 1932 and 1980 Olympic track. Then turn 12, we'll see some action there, legs flying up, faces bouncing off the ice. Through turn 14 and into the not-so-straight chicane. Into turn 17, the I Love New York corner. Turn 18, we'll see a couple little flops through there, then up 10% vertical grade through turn 19 and the finish line. Felix Kissinger set the track record here last week with a 53.06, besting the mark by U.S. Olympic bronze medalist Matt Antoine.
A number of years ago, Alex Axel Young leads the World Cup Tour. He won last week, his second ever gold medal in the World Cup skeleton competition. One event down. This is basically same people we're going to see. Weather conditions, similar. I don't know if we're going to see Felix Kissinger or anybody get that track record. We got within 700ths of it this morning in the women's event. It was a little colder, so I don't know if we're going to see it. Anybody's going to do it is Tretyakov. His teammate Nikotina won the women's event this morning with awesome start times.
Air temperature 1.4 degrees. The temperature continues to rise. It was a little warmer than the women's race by a couple of degrees. And like I said, some of the athletes up there are just in between two sets of runners. See Martins Duker's there, multiple-time gold medalist.
Last week's winner, Axel Young, last race he won was in February 17, right before the Pyeongchang Olympics. He narrowly edged out the guy we call Superman on the tour.
Marcus Wyatt rocking a Buffalo Bills hat.
Cool.
It's kind of interesting for a British guy.
USA, Alex Ivanov will be the first guy off. This is the start list. Tretyakov in 4th, 5th. We should start seeing the real competitive times there. There's a draw, and
Martin Zucker's coming in 13th. We'll see what he can do from that far back in the start order. Kevin Boyer rounding out your top 20. We've got another American, Andrew Blazer, making his second World Cup start here on Mount Van Hovenberg today. But starting up for the men, American Alex Ivanov, his second ever World Cup race. Said he was looking for a little bit more on the start ramp this week. A little tentative last week.
Yeah, he had some start time deficiencies.
There it is.
497, much more competitive. He was
5'11" last week, so that's a way better start time from Alex. He's got about a bazillion trips down this track, looking good, confident, a lot less nerves in your second World Cup than your first World Cup. Having a pretty good run through the Devil's Highway right now. Watch this 9-10 transition. Now pay attention to this sled over the Lake Placid sign. If they go over the letters, they're a little high. If they go right under them, they're about right. 114.3 is good speed. Nice run through turn 12. No drama there. Down turn 14 and Benham's Bend. He's going to take that tap with the sliders right.
Good speed, 120.3 kilometers, 72 plus miles an hour.
This is an excellent run from Alex Ivanov.
Yeah, compared to last week, 53.45.
That is a personal best for him. I know that. That is a smoke show.
53.06 is the track record. I will put money down right now with anybody that the track record's going to go below 53 seconds. We're going to get into the 52s before this is all said and done.
Absolutely a smoke show. That's his dad on the left side. Tuffy Latour taking the sled. He's fired up, and he should be. That is a heck of a run in your second ever World Cup, and it started right here on the start ramp, 497.
Yeah, compared to 5.11s, 5.12s in the race last weekend. Needless to say, his first World Cup, he might have been a little tentative, but he's had a week to think about it. And wow, not only did he have a great start, he had a great run down the track.
Couldn't ask for any more.
Next up from Austria, from the sliding Meyer family, Samuel Meyer. Benny Meyer, we'll see tomorrow in the four-man competition, his brother.
So the brother of Rafi, longtime skeleton athlete, went to two
Rafi,
Olympics.
Yeah, Rafi's probably watching at home.
Wonder who pushes faster, Sammy or Rafi.
Rafi, I don't know. But
5.08 for Sammy as he comes through turn one. Now that has been a major trouble spot this week, and Sammy puts it down the pipe. Happy to see that.
19th placed last week, just ahead of Ivanov, who just came down. For the U.S. So I think that Alex Ivanov had some run.
I think, yeah, that was the run Alex has been looking for his entire life. Good time to pull it out. Sammy back 36 hundredths of a second. Down on speed as he comes out of turn 10. Little flop out of 12. Holding steady about 4/10 back. Needs a really good chicane. Good speed.
Speed's pretty good.
Yeah, almost the same speed as Ivanov from the U.S. Little trouble going into 18.
He's got to stay straight here in the uphill section. Taps a little bit. 45 hundredths off. You know, considering he got beat by 11 hundredths at the start, that's not too bad.
On this track, here's a basic benchmark. If it's 54 seconds or faster, it is flying. 54 mid is flying. These guys down in the 53s is uncharted territory for skeleton.
We're getting into the 52s before we're done here.
Solid looking run from Sammy Meyer. Janine Flock over to sled dogging duties.
She's won a medal this morning, her second consecutive medal. Look at those pictures. And what a landing on the exit of 12.
Yeah, stuck the landing. The John Montgomery flight through the airline. Little tap in the chicane. See his head up a bit. That breaks the aerodynamic profile that the Austrians are known for. And a little leg action on the exit of 17. But these are nitpicky things. Solid run, 53.90.
Next up from Norway, Alex Hansen. Not so good a weekend last weekend. This guy, he likes everything from surfing, ice hockey. I think he's an adventure sports guy.
Well, he also likes pushing a sled. 4.88. Huge start from Alex, Norway. We'll see if he can manage to hold on to that speed down the track.
Well, he's had another week on the track. He finished 26 out of 27 sleds last week. He's a better slider than that.
A little early into turn 5, late into turn 6. You see the flop because of it. The head's going to hit the ice on 7, and it does.
Red number's going to be coming up here in the exit. There they are, 7 back.
High and shady, going to drop out early and tap that left wall. 1:11.8, so he's back on speed.
3 kilometers down, though, to Alex Ivanov from the United States.
Nice correction.
Nice correction there. 116.6 clicks. That's 4 kilometers down. But still, good run. And again, he's trying to qualify for the top 20. This looks like a better run than he had last week.
54.18. Nice.
You know,
Chris is probably going to be really happy with that. He's taken over the Small Nation program for Norway as well as the Dutch World Kim Boss. Alex has an amazing start as he swims up the outrun. And it's Chris's job to try to hone those driving skills just a little bit before the Beijing Olympics.
He's got the start time.
And the beard.
And he's got that Norwegian look, too. But this is the norm. Hit that, come over to the left side to get on the take-on. A little skid there.
You see he hangs it up on the exit, turn 5 a little late in the 6, and that causes the flap. You see right there, it's these things snowball on you, and you really have to get ahead of it in order to fix it.
It's a pretty good line there, though. To snake through that chicane, it's a straightaway, it's a bend away.
I think he's pretty happy with that. 54.18 is getting after it.
Well, one of our top competitors in the field, Nikita Tretyakov, didn't do well last week. You think he's injured, huh?
It just didn't seem like he was performing up to par. Now, the Russians obviously hold their cards pretty close. Good looking Red Bull helmet on it. Got to give him that. 4.82. I'm wrong. He's fine. Great push up 1,500s on Ivanov as he comes through turn 1. Nice looking line. And the question is, can he extend? This guy loves to build speed. He gets overshadowed by his teammate on the start time, but that is still ridiculously quick.
Silver medalist for the Olympic team in Pyeongchang. He was 8th last weekend. That's what made me believe he's a little wounded. 5th in this event last year.
Holding steady, a quarter second up, down on speed a little bit to Ivanov.
But in the World Championships last year, he was the silver medalist. Look at this. This is track record.
Big loop going into turn 17. He has to work it before 18. Little flop out. It's going to be a little closer.
Can't tap here. Track record.
Wow.
There it is. 53.04. We're still going to get under 53 seconds before we're done.
The Russians know how to get through turn 19. Sometimes sloppy's fast, and that was sloppy.
Well, in the bobsled world, you know, the smoothest ride's not the fastest ride. So I agree with you there. Look how tall he is. Well, I don't think he's going to finish in 8th. Of course, the second run's still to come, but that looked like a much more competitive run than we saw out of him last week.
482 at the start ramp is excellent, and if you have a good start and a good slide, well, you're going to find yourself in first place, as he does right here. Huge speed at the bottom, and that shows why he has a track record.
Little tap there cost him, though.
Yeah, he probably had a 52.
Whoa, how high he got there in the take-on. That was because he tapped, got forced over on the wrong side of the entry to the curve.
See him hit before 18. Pretty happy with that run. Don't think it's going to hold up, though.
Thomas Dukars, the veteran slider in the competition.
Older brother of Martin. These guys have been. Oh, he pops out! He's out of the groove!
That's out of the groove. Let's see how bad the start is. Boy, everybody up there just took notice. Now he needs a perfect run to guarantee him spot into the field for the second run.
Let's check how much time that cost him.
If he stays within 60 hundredths, 75 hundredths, so a high 53, he'll have a chance. 66 hundredths, if that bleeds out to 85 or 90, he's in trouble.
See the cross going into 10. These guys
70.
don't make
So
mistakes.
there he stopped. He should have 114. That's good speed. So here he comes. He's starting to recover. He's not going to be anything challenging for medals, but his, you know, World Cup points. He wants to stay in that first seed.
Second fastest speed we've seen today. A little bit of a loop in 17. Good looking lines from the Latvian, though.
He's moved up into third already, so he's going to make this field. Second cut, 6200s back. I said he should stay within 7500s, but you know, unfortunate. Now that's going to cause all the other coaches to tell their athletes to watch out for that groove up there, correct?
It's because it's been so warm lately. That groove just gets chipped out. It happens typically during four-man heavy practice sessions. The four-mans chip away the groove, and if you're pushing across like he was, pushing the opposite groove from where you're standing, you can pop out.
He's not happy. He has to go away. Like they're weighing everybody. But, you know, the track, there's gremlins all over the track.
Here he is on the start. You see he's pushing the
tall.
left groove from the right side. He's really leaning on the sled, and it looks like it just takes a hop. See,
Hey, what an athletic move to put it back in the groove and not make it worse. He could have come right off that sled there.
yeah, excellent move from Thomas, and then he's a cognizant professional. You know, he gets in there and says, okay, I'm out of the groove, but I still got a race, and he's still sitting in second because of that.
Here comes
Or
our
third, sorry.
next athlete from Germany, the young Felix Kessinger.
Was the track record holder up until about 5 minutes ago.
Last week, he was the leader at the end of the first heat.
This kid can push. Put down here, looking for something in the 70s, 480.
So 800s from the start record, 470 is the start record, 1000s. Dukars got to 472. Martin's Dukars, he comes up soon.
Nice looking line, exited turn 3, and that's important going into the Devil's Highway here. This is where you build
Look
your
at
speed.
his form. He's down to flat 0-0.
Got a race on our hands.
He had a track record last week in the first heat.
A little late going into shady. That's why you're seeing him in the red by 400. Slips it through. 114.1 speed. Pretty good speed. High on the exit 12, though.
This looks like second. He gets through here.
Down on speed. Only 120.
Yeah, he's a kilometer plus down on speed, full mile an hour.
Even Ivanov is faster than him. We'll see what the gap is at the
Can't
line.
hit. Ducks his head, second. 2/10 back. Hey, they'll take it. This is a young athlete with a good start time. The Germans retooled their their men's team. This young kid could be a name that we're going to watch here as we go down the next couple of years leading into the Beijing Olympics. And you got a start time like that, Greg. You're the first guy to know that. You got a start time like that. You got a chance for posting records like you did last week.
Yep. See, look at the power going into the ground. That's just raw horsepower. The cool thing about Felix, though, is he's a smaller athlete, so he's incredibly aerodynamic coming down the track. Allows him to really gain a ton of speed.
Great form.
Exit turn 12, hangs it up a bit. You don't see him pick his head up too much. Doesn't freak out.
He fell to 5th last week. This week, maybe he'll hang around and get on the podium for his first ever. Okay, our Olympic gold medalist, Sun Bin Young. Here's a guy who didn't finish off the podium in any 8 World Cup races or the World Championships last year.
On the start ramp.
He owns the track record at the start, 4, 7, 6. He comes close to his own record. And if we see anything within 15, 20 hundredths, the next clock here, we could see another track record.
Give a shout
Only
out
6, that's not a good sign.
I want to give a shout out to his sled builder, Richard Bromley's son, Ethan, just recovering from surgery. Dad says hi. You and trying a new setup today. They said that they haven't had a chance to test it, so they're going to test it in the race.
Not good there, though. The speed's not there. He's dropping. Could be red numbers by the next clock.
It's a good placing of the chicane here. Little
Not
clip
there.
of the left wall, down on
200s,
speed.
Down a full kilometer, full mile an hour in speed. So the setup, the new sled, the new equipment they're trying here, I don't think it worked for that start time. Oh, but how wrong was I? How did that happen?
Sorry, Richard. John was wrong. You're magic at 19. That doesn't make sense.
Didn't we see that in the first heat when we saw that happen again in the women's race? Wow.
So
maybe that setup is for 17, 18, 19.
He got 400ths in the last.
He was a kilometer down in speed. So
that works. Okay, got nothing.
Okay, the best start. He's the leader.
4.76.
They still aren't below 53 seconds yet, but
Yeah.
this very surprised me. Very rarely do you see somebody with not. If you have good speed here, you have a chance to overcome the deficiency. He didn't have the best speed, but our Olympic gold medalist shows you why he's an Olympic gold medalist.
Because he's not happy with the track record. Okay.
Tracks clear. Choose start 1.
Okay, Marcus Wyatt, the rising star in the British program, 6 in World Cup points last year, 8 in the Lake Placid race last year.
Another starter. Got a good push on him. You see that groove is a little bit bouncy. I would definitely be paying attention to that if I was a coach. 4.80. Solid start. 400
Yeah, great
off the
start.
pace.
Tied for the second best start. 10th in the last weekend's race. So not what you wanted. His best finish last year was a 6th place in Königssee. Excuse me, 5th in Calgary. So, you know, he's maturing.
Great aerodynamic form. You see the compression.
Yeah, he does have great form. 1200s down. The speed we're looking for, 115. He's got 114. So he's in a top 4 position at the moment. But from what we just saw from Sun Bin Young, there is a fast line at the bottom.
120 speed, decent, but not the fastest we've seen.
Still holding on to 4th.
He's looking line through 17, 18, 19. We'll check him at the line.
4th, 3,500s back. Pretty good. That's sort of where you expect Marcus to be. There's a few more top athletes going to probably pass him. But it's just a matter of time. I think this year I would predict that he's going to get on the podium sometime.
Yeah, I think that we're gonna see that more and more over the next few years as we get into the Beijing Olympics. He's got the start, he has the form, he's becoming quite the pilot, and that's the complete package.
The only British athlete ever to win a gold medal on this track, Christian Bromley in 2003-04. We saw him coaching the Norwegians earlier in the broadcast.
Exit turn 3, see him take the tap, it bounces back across, comes out of Benham's Bend, turn 14, and just a little tap there on the left. He doesn't put it into a skid, though, and that's what happens when people kind of freak out.
Okay, next up is our World Cup champion from last year, Alexander Tretyakov, the real Russian rocket. He's been around and won so many races.
See
Last year, again, he was a couple of fourth place, 3 firsts, 2 seconds. Disappointing 6th at the World Championships.
Just got out-pushed by Sung Bin Yoon, 477 to a 476, but has great start velocity. That means he's already in the green numbers. Nice-looking line dropping into the Devil's Highway through turns 4 and 5. He's a 500ths at the 22nd checkpoint. Well, it used to be the 22nd checkpoint. Now these guys are going so fast, it's the 19-second checkpoint.
His first medal on this track, the 2009 World Championships right here. He had a bronze. That's how long he's been around.
1:15.2, pretty good speed, and by pretty good, the best of the day.
Well, if he keeps this up, this is below 53 seconds.
Double tap and chicane won't help his cause.
Oh, that's sloppy there, though. Watch him here in the uphill section. He could throw it all away if he hits. There
Whoa!
it is. 52.87. Listen, I was here when it was 55s. Look, how 52.87 is unbelievable.
Yeah.
On this track. And the weather conditions are not perfect.
I have a handful of 53s in my life, and those are crowning achievements in my skeleton career. 52 is just amazing.
But that's another day at the office for him. You know how many track records he's got, top, bottom in his career. He's not. I've done this real high in Benham's Bend. That's why he comes down here and gets behind the elbow. This wasn't smooth.
Yeah, he left a couple tenths in the bank, but he had 121.4 speed at the bottom. No one's touched that yet.
Yeah, it was sloppy down here, though. Of course, he's down the track faster than anybody's ever been down, and we're criticizing.
He's trying to figure it out as he goes at that point. So.
We're criticizing as well. Wow. Another Russian.
Surprising Russian last week.
That was his first ever World Cup that we saw him at.
First ever trip to Lake Placid. Just showed up and put a top 10 down like it was nothing.
Yeah, ninth, Start wasn't like the other two. What is this?
01.
8th best start. I mean, the Russian women this morning had the top 3 out of 4 start times.
Well, I have good news for him, though. He did outpush Nicotina. I've been on the low end of that. It's embarrassing. So good job there, Evgeny.
No, he got beat by 100. He was 5. No, he
was 01. She was 07. She slipped, though.
She outpushes a lot of the men in the field. So. Good lines here. I mean, he's 8th. This is pretty much what he did last week.
Falls out of Shady a little early. 114, decent speed, but not going to put him on the podium. But once again, your first trip to Lake Placid. Not easy. Nice run
Beautiful.
Through the chicane, though.
Pretty good speed, too. 7 tenths back. He's moved up to 7th. Clean down here. He can get in the top 6. Can't hit in the uphill section. He does. I jinxed him. 7th.
Just ahead of Thomas Dukers, who popped the groove.
Only 200s out of 6. Alex Ivanov from the United States, finishing 18th last week. He's in the top 6 at the moment.
Yeah, he decided to throw one down.
Wow, I'm impressed.
Solid run from the beginning. This is not an easy track, and he's handled himself like a professional this week. You see him going through Shady. He's a little high. Over the letters, that tells you he's losing pressure. He's already falling down where some athletes are still rising. He comes out, and it's down the middle of the track, but there's no what we call push. You want to have that centrifugal force that you build up in the corner to accelerate the sled, and it just kind of comes out, the technical term is kind of bleh.
Well, that hit in that uphill section doesn't help your finish time. And, TV doesn't do it justice. There's that young Russian athlete, first time here in Lake Placid. Okay, move on. Alex Gastner from Germany, who went from like 13th to 4th last week. Had a terrible first run and moved all the way up into he's 4th.
4:91 start time for Gastner. That puts him in play. It's a pretty good start time. It used to be a really fast start time. These guys just keep pushing faster and faster. Good entrance into turn 4 of the Devil's Highway. That gives him a chance. He's 28/100ths of a second back right now. Currently sitting in 7th.
He was only in 2 World Cups last year. Sugolda, Winterberg, 7th and 6th. 7th at the World Championships in Whistler.
Over the top of the Lake Placid, so he comes out with no speed. 114.0. He is down. He's not going to close on Tretyakov. He's moved up to 6th, though.
This is a good run. Speed's
back
not
to 7th.
There,
He's going to fall. Alex Ivanov is going to hold that spot. He's holding on to 6th at the moment. Well, now he's back. It's a race.
Skidding there, not bad. He does finish ahead of Alex Ivanov by 700s. He's 100th behind Marcus Wyatt from Great Britain. Good run for Gaster. Much better run in the first run this week than last week, where he was 13th out of 27 sleds. Here he'll be in the top 10.
I like how we're so nonchalant about a 53.38. It's a good run in the middle of the pack. I mean, that is outrageously fast for this track. We see him here on the start ramp. He uses the two hands to get it off the block. There's debris you can see coming out of the start groove. So the weather is causing it to deteriorate pretty quick. Nice run through the chicane. He trusts it, head's buried.
Experienced slider right there. He just showed it. Wang Yang. There's our leaders, Tretyakov, Jan, Tretyakov, same names. We've seen those names up there on that leaderboard before. Our first Chinese, no, actually Young's coming up, excuse me. This is the guy who won the race last week. Well, we'll see what he does.
Little toe action that we saw in the women's race, 4.80, a very competitive start time.
Do you think he knows that Tretyakov broke the track record?
I think he would be aware after seeing everybody come down so close to it. I think he knows there's an opportunity here to throw one down. He's 1,200 back, going through the Devil's Highway. Nice exit of 7. Smooth lines through 8 and 9. He's laid into shady though, over the letter, so he's going to drop out early. He will be down on speed, 1:14.6.
Way back.
Not going to win the race with that speed this week.
He was impressive in both runs last week, held off Dukars in the end. Not today in the first run, puts himself at a disadvantage. The speed's not bad, better than most.
Currently in 4th on the splits, needs to be clean out at 19, and he is 4th.
Hey, he's hanging around for a medal.
Couple of small mistakes, and that cost him, being 2nd or 3rd. A solid run. We're getting really nitpicky with these guys. Excellent speed. I mean, anytime you go 120 clicks on the Lake Placid track, you're looking at 72 miles an hour. That's getting after it. But, the competitive nature of Mr. Young is he won last week. Obviously a little frustrated. Takes the low line in turn 14, and that causes him to come out and hit that right wall. Little bit of a skid going into 17.
You can't win a medal in the first heat, but you can certainly lose a medal.
That's Thomas Dukars.
I think that, I think he's positioned himself, still have a chance for a medal. Now, how about the most successful decorated skeleton pilot ever?
Think he can win a medal?
Martin Dukars from Latvia. 480 in the first run last week, 472 in the second run. Let's see what he busts out here.
Martin gets so low to the ground when he's pushing. I think you could put a luge glove on his hand and get an extra step in there.
474. How could a 36-year-old athlete come off with the best start in the competition? I asked him about that. He said they went after a different training technique starting in June. And last year he says he was suffering from a few injuries here and there. This year he hopes to be able to maintain the season. Pushing like that. Wow.
Tretyakov has the 3rd fastest start time today. Never seen that before. Dukars up 200ths of a second over his rival Tretyakov, but down on speed, 1:14.8 in the red. He needs a perfect chicane if he wants to take the lead. That's not it.
Yeah. 400s back though. Hey, we've been wrong before down here, so let's see if he can find that speed line that is down there.
52.90.
He got back 100. He got back 100.
52.90 is second place.
Now remember, Tretyakov went 9th. Dukars went 13th. It's only 4 sleds difference. Sometimes there's a pretty good difference in ice conditions, but hey, it's going to game on. Those two guys are probably going to go back-to-back in the second run, which they've done many times.
Only one real mistake I would say here. Comes out hitting the wall in the chicane. Other than that, fastest start time. We see how low he gets and the power he's putting in the ground. That groove is really bouncing. Look at the sled bounce as he's loading onto it.
Unlike his brother, who's about 6'3", 6'4", Martins is about 5'11".
Exit turn 12, no drama there. He wrote the book on that, but you see that low line in 14 causes him to come out and hit right. He knew it. He had his toe down. He knew it was coming. Doesn't freak out about it, though. Keeps the sled pointed straight instead of skidding.
He didn't lose a lot more time there at the bottom. This gang from China now who put some impressive practice times down. But that's practice.
Willie Schneider said he has trained harder this summer than he has in the past 2 years. Look at the debris coming out of the start groove. 499.
11th best start, not bad. First time we saw him 3 years ago at the World Championships in Koenigsegg. Finished 21st. He's improved every year. He's the Chinese hope right now. And Willie Schneider's sled.
Willie Schneider coached him good-looking lines through the middle of the track. We'll check his position over the Lake Placid. He's a little high, dropping out early. Taps that left wall, 113.4. He's way down on speed.
11th in last week's race.
He's at 12th at the moment.
Good line there. Speed.
Late into 17, 119.7. So he's down on speed, does not have a good line. Taps before 18.
This looks pretty consistent to what he did last week. Through and down 12th. So he was 11th in the chicane. Lost one more spot down below 12th. Pretty much where he was last week. He finished 11th.
Representing the Ukrainian team.
Yeah, I think they may have guessed wrong on the runner sit up there at the bottom. It's down 2 clicks on speed. A couple of small mistakes, but nothing too glaring. Of course, anytime you don't get the push out of Shady, that'll affect you.
His best finish of the season last year on this track, a 13th place. So he's improved that one with the last week's result. All you can say is getting better.
Exit turn 14, skids just a little bit, goes in late to 17. We see the big loop up near the woodwork. A big drop after that, but solid run.
Tall athlete, too.
Tracks clear 2, start 1 for Vladislav.
Here comes our next athlete from Ukraine, there's his father setting things up. There's Sakevich. He's a student in physics.
Too smart to be doing skeleton. I will say this, he had time with his studies to lose 8 kilos this summer. Goes from one of the slowest pushers in the field to somebody that can go under 5 seconds. Excellent start for him, 498. But what's scary for the rest of the field, this kid can't drive.
Yeah, and he had a great first heat at him in the top 7 last week, but fell with the 14th or 15th best time in the second run, fell out of the top 10. He was pretty disappointed. This kid doesn't get good starts. He's got better starts than he used to, but boy, does he find the speed down the track when he's on.
5800's back. He seems like he's just a little bit off. 113.3. Bleeding speed through the middle of the track. That's going to make it really difficult at the bottom. He's at 12th place right now.
Look at his form.
Good speed, but a skid through the chicane. 120. Pretty decent speed.
Fighting for a top 10 right now. Maybe with the clean line going uphill here. He's got that. 12th. 9200s. He's 1300s back at Thomas Ducars.
Who popped the group.
Yeah, Vlad be happy with that. Last week, again, he lit it up in the first heat. I think it was 6 or 7.
Well, everybody was up there with a couple sets of runners, and they were guessing with the weather. What should we do? What should we do? Looks like Vlad may have guessed wrong.
A couple top 10 finishes last year. The form here, look at the form.
Entrance turn 5, he's a little early and knocks him away. You see he gets knocked in early to 6, and then exit 14 comes out, hits that left wall. He doesn't trust it. You see his head pop up just a second, causes him to skid.
Okay, here comes Dom Parsons. There's our leaders, Tretyakov, Ducars, and Yun. We've seen that leaderboard before.
Dom rocking the Senna tribute helmet. The late Formula 1 driver.
Dom just got some degree in engineering that Martin Haven could read out. I'm not going to try and do it.
It's Dr. Dom.
Yeah, so we got the physics student, and then we got Doc Dom here. So a couple guys probably too smart to be in the sport. Nothing against you, Greg.
I'm tired.
You okay?
Dom with a pretty good looking run here through the middle of the track. See his head hit the ice on the exit of turn 7. That just means you're going fast. 6,300's back. Nice ride through the Lake Placid sign. Good push, but he is down on speed. This is something we've seen with the British sliders in these first 2 races. They do not seem to have the speed in the sled setup that some of the other nations have.
Yeah, Dom was 13th in last weekend's race. Didn't compete last year, took the season off after winning the bronze medal at the Pyeongchang Olympics. He did get married over the summer to Australian slider. So there he is, through and down, 13th, just like last week.
First thing to be said for being consistent. 4:99 start time. But Dom, when you're watching this back, you look good in the Senate helmet. Much respect for that.
Alexander Tretyakov of the Russian Federation will maintain his lead with Martin.
Finish my story. Jacqueline Narcott and him got married down in Australia this summer, right?
Yep, a couple of skeleton athletes went down there. I know Savannah Graybill made the trek.
Well, you know, he's just getting back in the groove. I mean, he only won one ever World Cup medal in November of 13 in Calgary, and then all of a sudden at the Olympics 5 years later, he wins a bronze medal at the Olympics.
Well, that's a good time to get good, I'm just saying.
Dom, put a lot of time in the sport, got a good result in 2018. Okay, now Austin Florian.
About half of the people here are his friends from college, so you can definitely hear the audio is picked up on the start ramp.
That's the family, I think. I don't know. I can't say that's the family, but the
helmet artwork, the Venom helmet. Austin known for big starts. Little stumble right before he loads. Check the time. 4:87, very quick.
Clarkson University, about an hour and 10 minutes from Lake Placid. Came down skiing. He was on the Clarkson ski team. He was over there at Whiteface, and all of a sudden somebody told him you can go take some skeleton school rides. Came over here, and next thing you know, 3 years later, here he is on the U.S. team. You saw him come out of the ranks as a early starter.
He came in as the kid that could push fast and survive the trip, and now he's the kid that can push fast and drive pretty well. So 1:13.9 though, a little back on speed. Good-looking lines.
He was the top American last week in 14th place. Now he's going to try and beat Alex Ivanov's time at the bottom. He might, no.
It's going to be a good battle here. He's a little late in the 17.
Ivanov is 9th now. See with Florian 11th, so he's the second best of the U.S. sleds. Alex Ivanov is 500ths ahead. Good run for Florian.
I know Austin's he's looking, he's like, what happened there? And it was nothing glaring. There were a couple of little small things while Ivanov just absolutely threw down the run of a lifetime.
Best finish of the year was here in Lake Placid last year, 11th. But then he went to the World Championships and finished 8th, which was very impressive.
Good start time from the mechanical engineer from Clarkson University. You know, he's heavily involved in the sled program with the U.S. Little tap there in the chicane and the skid, and that hurt him.
Physics student. Then we had Parsons come down, a doctor, then him. 3 real smart guys.
I don't know what's wrong with him.
Tracks clear to start.
Here comes Jung from Korea, our next athlete. He's starting to come down the track faster every time we see him.
Another one of those push monsters. The Koreans are building a pretty solid program of push athletes.
He was 15th in last week's race.
Being coached there by Koshi-san, long-time Japanese slider, multiple Olympian.
World Championship medalist in 2003 on his home track in Nagano.
4:79 start time for Sunji. Little bit early into turn 5. He's 300ths of a second back on Tretyakov though. He's maintaining well. A little clip before 8. You see the flop out because of it. He needs a good shading. Back 1300ths of a second. A little high. Comes out and taps that right wall. A little down on speed.
This is a good-looking rookie here. Great line drift a little bit there.
He drove himself into the wall. He had it and didn't think he had it, so he's down on speed because of it.
Still a top 10 here for this young Korean. Ducks his head at the finish, yes! 50s, 700ths off the pace. The start time of 4.79. I'm impressed. I think the Koreans got somebody here that they can work with.
Yeah, no, the Koreans. Richard Bromley has built an excellent program there. And they obviously were a force to be reckoned with in the last Olympics, taking home a gold medal. With a solid run there, great push time, and if you can push and you can drive, you're going to be in a good spot. We see exit turn 7, smacks his face, and that causes him to flop out of 8 just a little bit. And then he has the line in turn 14. He doesn't trust it and drives it over into the wall. Been there, man. Did it in my first World Cup here. It kind of stinks. I know the feeling.
And to get weighed, now another Korean at the top of the track, Jisoo Kim.
Tracks clear to start 1 for Kim Jisoo.
He's 16th in last week's race.
See on the start ramp, another one of those powerhouse push athletes.
See those spikes? There's 375 of them. They're 1/16 of an inch. That gives you the grip to run across the ice with. And they're going to jump on this little tray and start their descent down this two-time Olympic. This isn't the two-time Olympic track, but Mount Van Hovenberg's hosted 2 Olympics here, 1932, 1980.
4:81 start time, that puts him in the mix. 1900's back at the 22nd clock. Little flop out of turn 6 though, and that will not help his cause.
Well, you know, top 10 start.
Good looking line through Shady, goes up near the woodwork and just almost gets it around the corner. 1:14.4 speed, little flop out of 12.
What do you think that Sunbin Young's gold medal in the Korean Olympics did for recruiting top athletes in the skeleton?
Well, it didn't hurt, I promise you that.
2 young athletes here could be a product of it. Both good athletes, both good starts. 11th, not bad. Better than he did last week. Last week 60, look how happy they are. It's Richard Bromley on the left, guy who builds the sleds. So Kim 11th, better than he did last week.
You gotta be happy with that. Alex Ivanov still sitting in that 10th spot.
Yeah, compared to where he finished 18th last week, that's a great result for him too.
See both Americans have gone so far safely in the field, obviously. We see Kim going through Lake Placid,
Good
the
form.
aggressive line. Through the bottom of the L, the top of the D, up near the woodwork, and then diving it out. That is, if you want to go fast, that's how you try it. He almost executes it, comes out and taps that left wall, but the thought process is there.
Kevin Boyer posted a 10th place finish in this event last year. It was his best finish on the World Cup ever.
Recently switched over to a Duker sled. I believe he did that last year. Went down to Segulda and made that big change from the Bromley sled he was on. 5:03 start time though, so a little bit back and a flop out
big
of 2.
mistake. Got in there too late, came across from 2 to 3. Got in that curve late, and he's still making mistakes.
Hit before 4, hit before 5. This is not going well for the Canadian. He's really got to put it together. He's already back in 19th, and he's bleeding speed still.
17th in last week's race, or last weekend's race.
Oh,
Bold
big
mistake.
hit on the exit shade.
Could he have a different setup on the sled?
He tried something here. It didn't work.
Well, Martin Haven likes to say, more hits than Elvis.
Well, he's definitely got a couple of gold records in his pocket, that's for sure. Ooh, another flop out of 18th.
20th.
He guessed wrong.
Oh,
He had to
there
have
again,
guessed
had
wrong.
to guess wrong with the setup for Kevin Boyer. Went for it. I'm sure he'll be shaking his head that it's not what I should do. He hopes he still gets a chance for the second run. I don't know though.
That's going to be tough. I know
gonna
his
be
mom
tough.
and dad flew down here for this race. They've been out of practice every day. And just sometimes you guess wrong, and that's part of it. He knows it too. Orby Garrett grabbing the sled for him.
Orby. I could look back. I think Orby medaled on this track in 1995-96. That was on the other track.
The old
Orby Garrett won a silver medal over there against Christian Auer, and Christian Auer's son's in the field coming up. A couple sleds.
exit turn 2. You see the flop out, comes over and hits that left wall, and at that point the competitive run is over because you just lost all your energy. Then he comes out of 10 way too early, gets sucked back into this left wall, and ladies and gentlemen, that's a hit. That one will get your attention.
Whoa, look at that. Look at his feet might have hit the lip. Whoa, that was a wild ride. Here's our standings after 20 sleds down. The Russian Rocket leads over to Martin Stuckart second, Sunbin Young the third.
Next Chinese athlete, Wen Gang Yang. A little bit late into turn 1, 486, nice start time, but a big loop on that first wave, and that just hurts your energy when you put in the sled on the start.
Well, he made it through the first run last week, ended up 20th overall.
Dead late into turn 4. He's gonna have to do some work to save it in the highway.
Yeah, but he's 13, so he's well within the cut line.
A little late into 7. He's gonna fly out of 8. No, he drove it through. But check his line in Shady, right through the Lake Placid, holds it up at the end. He's 4/10 back, 113.4. So he's down on speed. Good looking line through turn 12. Currently in 13th spot, holding steady there. 120 though, good speed for his position right now.
He was only in 2 World Cups last year. Here in Lake Placid, he finished 13th. 12th in Calgary.
Sliding back to 14, just behind American Austin Florian. That's where he'll finish.
14, pretty much what he did last year.
700s behind the American. Limited runs on this Lake Placid track. Definitely opportunities for improvement. 486 start time though. That's good.
That's impressive. 20th at the World Championships last year, so this guy's making some improvements.
Chinese building toward the Beijing Olympics here in a couple of years. Exit turn 3. See him come out, hit that left wall. That's standard, but he didn't bounce across, John.
Yeah,
He got
on the wrong
stuck
side.
on the wall.
Should be over on the left side to get on the take on there to 4, right?
Yep, and then hits in the chicane, and then that big long skid down to turn 17, and that is just a hockey stop on skates.
Good form there, though, for a slider. He's probably only got 3 years on the ice. Nicholas Timmings, one of the twins, the Timmings twins that slide. The other one's out in Park City right now.
They can join that contingent of athletes working with 2006 Olympic silver medalist Jeff Payne.
He finished 21st, just missed the cut last week.
He's just going to pin his ears back and go for it. 5:01 start time, so 18th fastest start time. We'll see if Nick can drive himself into the field here. He had a better week of training, a little more comfortable. He said he's never had the same coach for 2 weeks in a row until this week.
I don't know if he's ever made the cut. Let's see it in last year's World Cup.
Pretty good looking line so far though. Good looking entrance to Shady.
Right now he's in the show for the second heat, but he's got 300 more meters to go.
113.2, so he's down on speed at the moment. He needs a good chicane.
He gets
just a little kick.
A tap.
119.4 though,
pretty good
decent speed.
17.
He's climbing.
Hey, you're talking about personal best for these athletes. They might not win a medal. They come out here and do the best they've ever done, and there he is. 19th spot. Might be his best run ever. That's Jeff Payne, the Olympic silver medalist from 2006. His coach.
He's shaking his head, but it's a 53-second run, man. That is getting after it.
Fastest he's ever been down the track. And there's a lot of athletes coming down this track faster than they've ever been down. We've already had the track record smashed. We've gone below 53 seconds. Tretyakov, 52.84, 87, excuse me. He almost got through here.
See,
what's that, an inch?
Not even. But nice recovery. Sticks the foot out, keeps the sled going straight.
But how much did that cost him? 10
18th to 19th is what it cost.
A couple more people trying to get in this second heat dance.
It's going to be close. I think there's 2 that could give him a run for his money, but he's got a buffer sitting at 19.
Craig Thompson, here's an athlete who's going to be able to start the sled.
Craig is greased lightning on the start ramp.
Didn't make the cut last week, though. 22nd last week. Look at that start. 4:74.
Ties the fastest start time of the day.
Wow, what an athlete. But, you know, if he has a good run here, there's no doubt he'll be in the top 15 if he has a good run. But boy, yes, last week he can't come out and just slide down. You got to find a way to.
Well, he's maintaining it right now. Quarter second back, but 112.12 down on speed. Once again, the British sled just seem to be down a bit on speed this week.
Still in the top 10. Gets through here, run wild. 119.2 is pretty good speed.
Decent speed.
He didn't have that speed last week. This might be another personal best.
Can he dip under that 54 mark?
He does.
15.
Wow. Congratulations to Craig Thompson.
Bumps Alex Hansen, Sammy Meyer bumps him out, puts Nick Timmings on the bubble.
Craig's only got a 16th and a 17th best finish ever. He's only had 2 World Cup races before this last season. But with that type of start time, he's got a chance.
Huge steps. He takes massive steps, putting power to the ground on the sled, nice and gentle. When you have the fastest start time in the competition, it makes things a little easier. Comes almost completely disappears behind the wall in the chicane. But all in all, a really solid run from Craig. He's got to be happy with that. Currently sitting 15th place.
Next up from the United States, Andrew Blaser, Idaho guy. Went to the University of Idaho. Track and field background.
Also a gymnast.
Yeah,
Still
saw
has-
that. Saw that too. I love that.
Can do a standing backflip on command. Even in cowboy boots, ask him about it. Great story. 491 too. Good looking start.
Way better than last week.
Oh, big skid though on the exit of turn 1. He's late in the 2. Small little flop out.
Last week he had the 20s. 20th best start. So this is a big improvement.
Back about a half second on the leaders, but he's trying to improve on last week. He's currently sitting in 17th spot. He's got a lot of local knowledge on this track.
23rd last week, so he's trying to make the big dance. Second run here.
Nice looking lines from the middle.
Boys,
113.6 though.
Speed's way off.
Little skid, 119.4, late in the 17. He's gonna have to do something in the 18.
16th, I think he's gonna get there.
20th.
Right on the bubble. Oh, that's gonna hurt. 22nd.
Andrew,
104.
so close.
He just missed out by 700ths. And that little tap down there before the finish line, the uphill section, cost him dearly.
He had it. His splits is 14, 17, 18, 16. He brings it back 20, and then the double tap before the finish line, and that's what knocked him out. So he turned 14, takes the high line, comes out and just that hit and the skid, and then doubles down and goes late in the 17.
Right here. Bang. That's uphill. TV doesn't do it justice.
That was it right there.
Steep uphill. You tap like that twice
Thank you
before
guys
the
all for
finish
watching.
line.
Stay tuned. Big things to come.
Best attitude you'll ever see though. He's a great guy.
Okay, now Florian Auer, another one of those families, second generation slider. We talked about Orvie Garrett losing a race to Christian Auer in 95-96. Well, Christian Auer, his father, Florian's father, won multiple world championships back in the 90s.
Florian's brother Alex, a longtime skeleton athlete, just had a first baby a few months ago. Saw some pictures this week. Proud uncle Florian is. 5:03 start time. It's something that Florian has struggled with in the past, but he continues to improve it. He's got that Austrian form, though, very aerodynamic, but a skid going into turn 4. He's 6,500s back. He's in 23rd spot at the moment. The field is full. He's got to be in the top 20 to get in the show. See what we can do here in Shady. 9,600s back, falls out a little bit early. Clip on the left side, 110.8. He's down on speed.
Did do well on the track last year, 25th, 24th last weekend. Maybe Lake Placid just isn't his track.
Not agreeing with him there. 116.5. He's down on speed. He's going to have to find that magic line in 19 to make the cut. 24th at the moment. That's where he'll finish.
But you know, you look at here, 24th. He finished 9th last year in the Altenburg track, which is a very difficult track, and that's where the World Championships will be. So there's still some hope for Florian because the end of the season, the World Championships will be on that track right outside of Dresden.
Nick Timmings on the bubble, breathes another sigh of relief with 2 sleds left. Janine Flock grabbing the sled for Florian. Obviously, he's disappointed. Exit turn 3, it looks good, takes the tap in the right spot, and then it just breaks on him just a bit. Points nose down into 4.
Looked late there, but the landing was pretty cool.
And exit 14 just disappears behind that elbow, and that usually means you're going to hit like that.
Tracks clear to start 1 for Kyle.
2 sleds to go.
Magnet.
Next up, Canadian Kyle Murray.
Best mustache in the field on this kid.
Kyle struggled last week.
Limited runs on this Lake Placid track. 5:00 start time, 20th fastest start. He's back a quarter of a second, already has a skid and a hit on the extra 1. That's not going to help his cause on making the top 20.
Well, the person looking on right now is Nick Timmings from Australia. He's at the bottom part of the track.
Kyle really working that sled. A big flop out of 6. May have guessed wrong on the runner setup. Looking line through Shady, but it comes out 110.7, so he's down on speed, currently 24th. He's going to need to have a good bottom half of the track if he wants to make the top 20. Just clips going through the chicane, 115.0.
Kyle Calgary. He's a home security specialist. Through down 26. So he's still learning on this track.
After his first run,
So Timmings has only got one more in the field to worry about.
Tretyakov maintains his lead. Martin secures IBSF in second, with units on the bin sitting in third. And Joel
You can see how steep it is coming up that finish ramp. That's how steep it is coming up out of 19 to 20 to that finish line.
Varies between a 10 and 12% grade walking uphill there. It'll take it out of you on a track walk, I tell you what. Exit turn 5, see him get pushed away into 6, and this big flop, you see his feet apart and his head up, he's not trusting it. Exit turn 14, almost has it, and then elbow. Just sticks out and knocks you all the way across the track. Frustration. I know how it feels.
27th athlete down the track from Israel, Joel Segelstein. Joel trying to knock Nick Timmings out of a spot in the second run.
See what Joel can do here. Him and his wife Erin had a baby 4 months ago, Miss Riley. She's up at the top of the track making friends.
Just bought a house in Lake Placid.
Just
They got
bought
a
a
house
house
in
in
Park
Lake
City,
Placid.
so he plans on sliding.
5:25, I think that is a PR start time for Joel, so really happy with that. A little late in turn 2.
How intimidating is it to come from the Europa Cup or North America's Cup into the World Cup?
In a word, very.
Yeah, that's what I heard out of Joel was just wow, look at how fast. This is a different world.
But this is a major improvement for Joel. He's got
Sure,
good
good
form right
lines.
now. These are good looking lines. Nice line through shady, clips a little bit. 110-2. Good speed through the middle. Little high on the exit 12, but that's just, that's part of Lake Placid.
Joel get a lot more trips down the track. And Israel continues to build its sliding program. Late there.
While he's not going to make the cut here, I think this was a much better performance than last week. Got those first World Cup jitters out.
Personal best probably down 55.77. But again, you need trips. You need trips in competition. Practice, practice, practice.
I think that's a solid result for him. A really good drive. Tuffy Latour down to grab his sled for him.
Help him out. That's a lot of helping out to the smaller nations here, especially by the United States and Canada. Joel?
Say this, there are very few, he works incredibly hard at his craft. See him here coming through.
Good lines. His head's up a little bit there.
He sees his death in turn 12. So that's what we call it when you're going to go up and kick the roof as he does there. That's the, oh crap line. But
so 27 sleds safely down. We saw a track record. We saw them get below 53 seconds for the first time ever on the Mount Van Hovenberg track. Another track record. We're seeing them. The track just keeps getting faster. Maybe they'll break the track record in the second heat. It's getting a little colder. Stay with us. 3:30 will be on for the second run.
0.2 of a second now at 7.
Next run from the Russian side.
Hey, mama.
All right, good.